This summer, as it looks to be either a moderate El Nino or a full basin El Nino, of course, reminding folks that's just the warming of the Pacific waters in South America right around the equator. But what that does, of course, is in most cases lowers the numbers of hurricanes that we see throughout the basin in the Atlantic and the Caribbean. This would be likely one of the better years to do a Caribbean cruise vacation because, again, the odds are lower that a hurricane, tropical storm, or depression might impact the week that you're trying to take your family on vacation. This is one of those summers where if you do worry about the tropical depressions to hurricanes and just don't want to have that on your mind at all, this may be one of the better summers to book that Caribbean cruise. But keep in mind, if it is something you just don't want to even mess with, if you, I don't want to worry about it, even if it's a small chance, it's just too much of a risk for our family, then I would highly recommend the pivot. Alaskan cruises, this is the time. The next few months are the high season for this. And having been up there, seeing the glaciers and running through Southeast Alaska, it is a phenomenal option if you, again, just don't even want to risk anything that is possible in the tropics. So when I went up there last summer, it was quite an experience. The amount of daylight you have is indescribable. The sun is up before 5 o'clock in the morning. And in fact, you will have still some twilight or some resemblance of some light. And we're talking past 10 o'clock, even past 11 o'clock at night. In some cases, there's still a hint of light on the horizon. So one of the reasons why I do recommend Alaska past the threat of you don't have to worry about any tropical conditions is you get more hours to do more with your family. So for me, if I hadn't been there working, I would have felt like I got so much more out of that vacation in the experience and in the memories than something else where I may have got a t-shirt at a port, or something like that. It was so much more fulfilling. And again, you don't have the worry of tropical weather in that July, August, and September months that are your peak season up there. But what I recommend, if you've never done it before, you want to do one of the short cruises. And what do I mean by that? We're talking 3 to 4 days, just a long weekend. And it's not so long that if by chance you end up just not being one of those people, you're not tied to it, losing a lot of money or a lot of your time off as a result. What I learned shifting over to marine meteorology is it's significantly harder, but this will make sense why. The weather was moving, but we weren't, meaning people that I was forecasting for, the moms and the dads looking for their weekend, what they do with their kids, they're not really leaving that region. So it's stationary target moving weather. When I shifted to marine meteorology, everything changed because now it's moving target, moving weather. So what I'm looking at for an analysis for today's forecast, I'm not looking at the same stuff for tomorrow or 2 days from now. Everything is moving. And as a result, I think it's much more challenging. Out at sea, there are much fewer stations. We have buoys, we have instruments to measure it, but the gaps get much, much bigger. And so then there's much more room for error in your forecast. So you're adding complexity to moving target, moving weather. You're adding complexity to fewer data sets to really lean into confidence on your forecast. Just for the cruise lines in general, you're not going to hear them make changes a week or two out because essentially every single one of these lines want to deliver the amazing vacation that you bought. If any change needs to be made, it's happening like right as the cruise is starting, or maybe a day or two in. If you just need to drop one port, you may not need to have alterations for the entire cruise. It may just be one region that they want to stay out of to keep you more comfortable. The wonderful thing that I love about the cruise lines is that you think about this, you buy a week at a hotel, you're stuck, you're flying, you're going, and if a storm is hitting that island or that resort at that time, that's what you have. The ships can and will move. They will see the storm and say, all right, let's opt for somewhere else. They'll try to do everything they can to get you the week you bought, but obviously with storms and hurricanes, they're going to get out of the way and opt for a different port, where if you opted for a resort or a hotel for a week, you don't have that luxury. My recommendation is do not fly on the day your cruise starts. It is almost always inviting trouble. The ships are just like planes. They're maintaining the schedule and they're moving around. So they go when they go. It's not a sit and wait for one passenger or one family. That operation will continue on schedule, even if the ports have changed.